Hi everybody, I'm Scott Bino, Vice President of Marketing for North America here at Crawford Company. And today on Crawford Chat, I'm very honored to welcome Lance Malcolm. Lance is the U.S. President of Contractor Connection. Lance, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you, Scott.
Lance, let's start off with what I hope is an easy question. What is your job? What do you do at Contractor Connection?
So in my role, I have the honor and the privilege of getting to be the senior most leader for Contractor Connection, working with who I believe is the best senior leadership team in all of Crawford, leading and guiding a leading industry managed repair entity, Contractor Connection, as we continue to grow and expand and build on our leadership.
Excellent. And I want to talk to you, Lance, really about you and what brings you to Contractor Connection, and talk a little bit about your journey and your history. So I understand, you come from the carrier side. And talk to me a little bit about your experience on the carrier side and transitioning into Contractor Connection on the managed repair side, how that has shaped some of your philosophy and leadership here at Contractor Connection.
So, I've been in this industry now 35 years. I know I don't look like I could have possibly been in this industry for 35 years, but that's fact. And I spent the first probably 25 years approximately on the carrier side. And I worked for two key carriers, worked for Nationwide for close to 20 years. And I was the Vice President of Claims, leading claims organization for Citizens Property Insurance of Florida before joining Crawford. And I think the biggest opportunity, what really helped me in that transition is understanding the carrier side and what is it they're really doing, right? What is their mission? Obviously, their mission is to make a promise to policyholders when they pay a premium and then deliver that promise when those policyholders have a claim. And we get a chance to fit into that equation, that delivery of that promise as an extension of the brand of those insurance carriers. So my experience having that kind of background of insurance claims and coming from property claims background helps me to understand what is it that we really need to be looking at? How do we deliver that promise? Helping that carrier, helping that policyholder, but then also bringing together those network contractors that work with us. So gave me an opportunity to understand the insurance claims process, what's important, and then how can we enhance that? How can we influence that and make it better for all the key stakeholders?
So let's pull on that thread a little bit, right? So we talk about what helped you sort of make that transition. Was there anything that you had to shift, any mindset shift that you had to have going from the carrier side then into the service provider side?
Yeah, I would say that, coming from the carrier side, you're in a position where you're sitting on the side of the desk as the client. So you're setting your expectations and you're expecting those expectations to be met. Probably the biggest shift for me was understanding how those expectations can be met, or sometimes how do you educate clients on what it takes to meet the expectations and where those expectations should fall, and how do you engage in that? So, having that insight helped me to understand what the carriers are looking for, but then shifting my mindset from just how that expectation gets laid out to how do you deliver on that expectation, I think was probably the biggest shift for me.
Okay, so let's continue on that journey then, going from the carrier side to the service provider side, and then specifically Contractor Connection, managed repair. So how does managed repair fit into the broader claims ecosystem, and how does it play into carriers strengthening their relationship with the policyholder?
Yeah, so insurance carriers today, from my point of view, have been on a journey for a long time of how do you deliver speed of service, accuracy in estimating, quality of repairs, and exceptional customer experiences. And every carrier has their unique differentiators, how they deliver that promise I talked about earlier for their policyholder, how they want to accomplish that. But when you look at claims handling, especially on the property side, it's about building a segmentation model. And I've got X number of claims that I get a year as a claims leader in my organization, and I need to handle those claims. But I need to do it the most efficiently way possible. I need to be looking at factors like loss adjustment expense, allocated and unallocated, so specific claim costs, but then operation costs. I also need to look at indemnity accuracy to make sure that we're delivering the accurate indemnification so that I can understand the overall impact to the insurance company overall. Claim segmentation models come in where you look at the different types of claims that you receive on an annual basis, or you believe you're going to see on an annual basis, and then you find the right channels to be able to route those claims to the right resource at the right time. So I need different resources to be able to handle different kinds of claims. Some claims I can handle at a desk, and I can just say to the policyholder, send me an estimate, or tell me what you lost, and then I'm going to write an estimate here at the desk, and I'm going to indemnify you right now. Some I may need an inspection, so I might use an inspection service. I might have an opportunity to go out, send somebody out to the property to be able to look at it and get me back photographs and some scope notes. Contractor Connection, we fall into a segment of the segmentation model where carriers identify the right claims that policyholder is interested in potentially having a contractor to help them with the repair ultimately. But we can come in and we can have a contractor go out who's been credentialed and vetted, trusted contractor, to take photographs, capture a diagram, write an estimate. That estimate comes back to us. We can validate that estimate through our estimate review process to deliver back an estimate to a carrier that is accurate, right? It's the highest level of accuracy, so that then their adjuster can then adjudicate the claim with their policyholder. Right? They use the rest of the piece. But then I got some claims where I need a experienced adjuster to go out and look at the loss. I may have a question about fraud, I may have a question about subrogation, I may have a question about cause and origin, but I need that investigative knowledge, skills, and abilities to really get to that right speed, quality, accuracy, and customer experience. And then I also have some claims that are very large claims where I need that same expertise, but at a higher level, a much higher level. So carriers today should be building a segmentation model that covers all those different channels, gives them access to those resources. Contractor Connection fits right there in a sweet spot where it's probably more complex than a lightning claim or a theft claim, small, breaking and entering claim. It's not to the level that I needed a highly experienced adjuster to go out and do cause and origin investigation and coverage analysis, but I still need that estimate, photographs, and a diagram. And at the end of the day, you can provide that estimate to the adjuster so they can adjust the claim, and the policyholder has access to a vetted contractor to help them get that repair done. When I think back 35 years, when I first started handling claims, I went out and I looked at every single claim. Didn't matter if it was a $250 television struck by lightning. I had to drive out there, meet the policyholder, take a picture of it, and then have them have a lightning affidavit done. Really didn't need to go out there, right? I could do that other ways. This 35 years has given us the ability to evolve those claim segmentation models, and opportunities like Contractor Connection is a perfect example. Didn't exist in 1990 when I started, came out in 1995, and we've grown that over the last 30 years to where today 20 to 25% of eligible claims today go through a managed repair program of some kind. That could be even higher in the future, and that's that opportunity that we look at. So when I think about Crawford, and I think about all those opportunities, Contractor Connection kind of sits in the middle, but all of our Crawford services are relevant in the marketplace today, and how we can make that more meaningful for clients is how we continue to grow. And we all work together with inspection services and self-service tools and desk models, field operations, GTS, Broadspire, and all the different services inside of it working together.
Yeah, and there's a lot there, right? I think there's a lot happening in Contractor Connection, but there's so much that happens, like you said, the connectivity into some of the other businesses that make up sort of the Crawford ecosystem. Talking about that a little bit more, and I think you touched on the answer to this potentially, but what are some of the overlooked opportunities for carriers, or maybe that carriers don't always leverage with a managed repair program to help with operational efficiency or to help with policyholder satisfaction? What are some of that low-hanging fruit that maybe they don't always see right away?
I think one of the biggest opportunities that I see, and I see it with some clients and carriers, is first you've got some that maybe don't buy into it yet. And on the commercial managed repair side, we see more of that, where they haven't accepted that managed repair can be a solution in their tool set, in their claim segmentation model. But even the carriers that do accept it, the ones that really maximize the value coming from having a managed repair program, is understanding how to channel the right claims to that segment, help their policyholders in more than just getting an estimate, more than just writing a check, but carrying it to that next level, but educating their adjusters on the importance of that method, of that channel, and how it can really speed up the process, help them with their adjudication of the claim, and then provide that exceptional experience for the policyholder on the end. When we talk to J.D. Power does their property claim study every year, and they clearly point out in their studies year after year after year that where managed repair is engaged, they can see a higher level of customer satisfaction from their respondents. So how do you get the right claims, getting the right claims to that channel, and then bringing it through the channel, pulling it through to actually getting the repairs done?
Yeah, and let's go there. Let's talk about the policyholder, right? You've seen firsthand how policyholders are affected by potentially disastrous, worst day of their life, awful experience. What do you think are the key ingredients to take such a stressful situation to turn it into a positive outcome for that policyholder?
Yeah, first and foremost, communication. Where you got to be empathetic, you've got to understand where they're coming from. You said it, right? That for pretty much anyone who has that situation, it's probably the worst situation they've been in. Not only are they impacted, but their spouse, their children, their family members, their pets, whoever lives in that home. If it's a personal lines claim, they're all affected. If it's a commercial claim, it could be impacting their livelihood. So understanding that and coming from that place first, and really embracing our vision, mission statement here at Crawford is restoring and enhancing lives, businesses, and communities. If you take that to heart, at the core of that is being empathetic, communicating transparently, being proactive, because as you do that, you eliminate that stress. A lot of stress and anxiety comes from not knowing what the outcome is going to be. I don't know what's going to happen, so I worry and I stress about it. And when I do that, it's not productive. So how do we take that stress down? And I think the first step is communicating, being transparent. Here's what's going to happen, setting expectations, meeting those expectations, and then being able to deliver that repair at the end of the day. And we've done some work at Contractor Connection around that. Even in the digitalization of the claims process, when you look at a tool like JobTrack, which is a proprietary portal that we've created, a technology, a platform that brings transparency into that whole repair process, where contractors that have won the opportunity to do the work, they map out that project in milestones, and then the property owner, the adjuster, and the contractor, and us all have access to that portal, and we have some proactive communication and engagement where we can really help reduce that stress. But it's about communication and transparency.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer, and I would agree with that sort of wholeheartedly, that the unknown is the stress, right? And I think sometimes if you can relieve that unknown, I mean, you're not gonna, we want to restore people to their pre-loss condition, but we know there's certain things that can't be brought back. But I think if you're empathetic and you're communicating and you're showing that you understand what they're going through, probably goes a long way.
Yeah, and I would just add one quick point to that. Another component of that is there are a lot of pieces of restoring them back to their pre-loss condition. They've got contents, they've got additional living expense challenges, they've got, special documents to them. They might have a plumbing leak, they got some water mitigation that has to be done, then repair. Over time at Contractor Connection, we've built out multiple services that we make available for restoring that damaged insured back to their pre-loss condition. It's not just take the water out, dry the water up. It's not just repair the drywall, but we have the network curated that can deliver all those different services that they need.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of those services? Do you mind, like, if we talk about some of the ancillary things? Because I know there's been some exciting developments and changes and evolution of Contractor Connection beyond the pure sort of contractor repair industry, and I know it's really grown into a lot more. Can you tell us a little bit about some of that?
So I'll give you a little history. So 25 years ago, Contractor Connection started in the mid-1990s. Crawford acquired it in late 1999. Larry Thomas was brought in as a leader in late 1999, early 2000 timeframe. When he joined, and I've heard this story a lot over the last 12 years, so it gives me a chance to kind of reshare it. When he joined, it was probably 250-ish or so contractors, 35 people in Contractor Connection, and we delivered one service, which was just repair. General contractor repair of a property. Over time, we identified different services that were needed. So we identified the opportunity to provide support in water mitigation. And we went out and we built the industry's largest independent managed repair network for water mitigation, where a carrier can send an assignment to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have Contractor Connection employees who are available to get that assignment in, reach out to a contractor in that zip code, in that location, get an answer within 15 minutes, and we've got a contractor on their doorstep in 2 hours to dry up the water. So 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, we're gonna have a contractor out there at 4 o'clock in the morning to dry up that water. We identified that opportunity and now we deliver that service. It's one of the biggest services we have. As we navigate through that, we identified that there was an opportunity for contents pack out, right? There's contents that get damaged in these losses. We worked with our network, we identified what they could do, we built out that credentialing piece to make sure they're vetted resources, and now we can do the contents as well, so we can make sure the contents are done effectively. We have art restoration, so there was an opportunity where we would hear about special art, or maybe an art that their children drew when they were young, that they didn't want to lose. But we identified resources to be able to come in and take those special items, those heirlooms of true art, and restore it back to its pre-loss condition. So that service became available. More recently, we've identified opportunities around lead, mold, and asbestos abatement. Historically, we would not do that because they're very specialized. So we went out, we created that service through Contractor Connection, understanding how to credential contractors to make sure we have the right contractors who can do it the right way. That's a very specialized area. And now we have that ability to offer that service where there's a water loss and it might involve lead, asbestos, or mold. Contractors we have on our network can handle that. And then we go into other services like engineering services. We identified there is a need where in a loss, a carrier might need a cause and origin forensic engineer or a structural engineer to look at it. Contractors can use engineers to help them understand how to put a building back to its pre-loss condition effectively to remedy those structural damages to it. So we went out and we credentialed a network of engineering resources to be able to make that available to our clients. Temporary housing, another great opportunity. When someone's forced out of their home, how do they deal with that? There's coverage under the policy that pays for additional living expense, but there's a whole process around that. How do I move a family of 4 with 2 dogs and a cat and get them a place to live for the 2 to 4 to 6 months that their home is going to be displaced? They're going to be displaced from it. How do I do that? And there are entities out there that do that. They do it to different degrees of success. Somewhat of a fragmented industry, and we've developed and curated the ability to be able to bring some consistency and standardization to that. Now we offer that to clients, that when you have a loss, you can use our temporary housing services and we'll help you get that policyholder in place. If they're actually using our other services, mitigation and or repair of the property and the contents, then we tie all of that together. So now we know when that repair is going to be done. So now we can tie in when that temporary housing piece should come in for a landing. If there's a change in the repair, we can notify all the parties to extend that temporary housing. So it gives us an opportunity to leverage those services together.
There's so much, right? There's so much. This, Contractor Connection has evolved over the years, and it's really incredible because there's so many facets to it that I think many people, fortunately, if you haven't had a loss, don't realize however many other things there are. It's not just the property itself, but it's like, how do you live after that? How do you live during that? And so it's really interesting to hear and see how Contractor Connection has kept up with that and changed over time to service that. Lance, I have one more question for you. If you could redesign one part of the property claims process to better serve a policyholder, drawing on your experience in managed repair, drawing on your experience on the carrier side, what would it be?
Now, there's not just one thing that I believe can continue to evolve, and I do believe it's an evolution. I believe we're in that evolution now. It's digitalization of the claims process, which we see that happening all over the place with platform technology around claims management systems, estimating platforms, different technologies, even around how do we capture imagery, how do we write estimates, is that becoming more automated? So to me, the biggest redesign that is happening and needs to continue to happen is that evolution. How do we do that effectively? How do we bring together technology into our ecosystem? So at Contractor Connection, we've built a pretty vast technology stack ecosystem over 30 years. It's a combination of proprietary technology that I talked about with our client assignment manager and Contractor Central, job track, but we have to do that with that same mindset of we're not replacing people, we're enhancing what our people do. We're empowering our people to be able to deliver at a higher and higher level of service, of speed, of quality, of accuracy, of customer experience. So to me, that redesign is how do we continue that evolution? How do we do it the right way? Because technology is accelerating at an unbelievable pace. Every time I go to the Interconnect conference, I see 10, 20, 30 more companies that have some new technology that they believe is going to revolutionize the claims handling process. If we tried to adopt every piece of technology, we would literally choke on it. So it's about evolving the overall ecosystem, enhancing process, enhancing people, keeping technology and digitalization as a key focus, but balancing them all out. I mentioned J.D. Power earlier. When we look at the J.D. Power study, there are definite striations of the different, people have different expectations. Some don't want anything to do with digital, some want nothing but digital, some want some mix of digital and in person, but they're always consistent that the human touch is important. You lose the human touch, you lose the experience. If you enhance that human touch and then communicate, respond in the way and the frequency that the policyholder wants and is looking for, you win at the end of the day.
That's excellent. And it's a great sort of point to end this conversation. So Lance, I just really appreciate your time joining me today for Crawford Chat. And to everybody watching, thank you so much for joining and stay tuned for future chats.
Thank you.
You ready, Lance?
As ready as I'll ever be.
What was your childhood dream job that makes you laugh now?
Be an astronaut.
You want to be an astronaut?
I wanted to be an astronaut.
What happened?
Probably 9th grade, 10th grade, my vision started to slip and I had to wear glasses and I couldn't,
And that was it.
be. And then my backup was to be a doctor. And then in college, I learned that I really can't stand the sight of blood. It makes me want to pass out.
Bring in the
Bedside
blood.
manner.
Bring in the blood. What's your go-to fake excuse when you want to leave a boring event?
Yeah, I really don't make an excuse. I just say, I got to go.
You just go. You're out. You don't have time for that.
I just usually will just say, hey, I apologize. I gotta go now.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
I'll
It's
go.
blunt.
I gotta go. I got a thing.
You're just blunt. What's the most random fact stuck in your brain?
Like, I'll give you one random fact. Do you know what the first year of the Pontiac GTO is?
I do not.
1963.
Well, now I know. And it's on camera and it's documented, so
There you go.
I can go back
It
to
may
it
be
and reference it.
1964.
Well, yeah, see, now people are going to Google this. And
One of
they're
those
gonna,
too.
They're going to hit you
I
up now.
encourage people to Google it.
Which historical figure would be the worst person to be stuck in traffic with?
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. That
That would be
probably
the worst one to be stuck in traffic.
Who's your childhood celebrity crush?
Is my wife going to see this?
No, we can edit it out.
Thank you.
We won't. We're going to keep it.
My teenage crush probably would have been Valerie Bertinelli.
If your boss were a dessert, what dessert would they be?
If my boss was a dessert, Bananas Foster.
I'm not going to ask any follow-up questions to that. We're just going to keep that as is.
It's good, but it's on fire. Is there coffee in it?
These are fake. It's just a prop.
Man,
Yeah.
I was hoping there was actually something in there.
There's not. It's tequila. There's tequila in there.
I'm not a big tequila fan.
Well,
bourbon.
We could get bourbon in there. Can we get some bourbon? Drunk chats with Lance. What's your most used phrase on video calls?
Probably help me understand. I use it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I use it when I'm frustrated, like help me understand. I use it
I'm
when
going to
I'm
answer the
confused.
question. I'm going to answer the question for you. Sometimes when we're on a call, if you're like, "What is this call about?"
That's a good one.
What's the strangest compliment you've ever received?
When people tell me that I look like somebody. And then
Okay.
most recently, my wife was like, "You look a lot like Hugh Jackman." I'm like, the drunken mugshot photo of Hugh Jackman, or
No, like the ripped
That's-
Wolverine.
I don't know how that could be
shirtless.
possible, but then she pulled up the mugshot photo of Hugh Jackman. It's
You
on my
look like Hugh Jackman's mugshot photo.
phone. Yeah. Can I wave?
You can wave. You can blow kisses to the camera, whatever you want.